Welcome back to another essential movie. Today we will be taking a look at a story called Upside Down.
I'll let you make it up to me. Take me to lunch?
The narrator is introducing us to the world he comes from, the only double-gravity solar system in the cosmos. In this reality, there are three physics laws. Every object is pulled by gravity from the world it comes from. The weight of the object can be offset by utilizing inverse matter. These are objects from the opposite world. Object that comes into touch with inverse matter eventually burns. This world is a place where you can fall up and rise down. Above live the rich and prosperous, while below people live in poverty. Any contact between the two worlds is forbidden. The only place where it is allowed is the transworld, a huge corporation from above. We meet the narrator, the main protagonist of the movie, Adam Kirk, who grew up in an orphanage because of transworld. His parents died in the explosion of one of the refineries. He spends each weekend with his lone living relative, Aunt Becky. She teaches him how to build model airplanes and flying pancakes. They are a family secret that has been handed down for many generations. They are made from pink pollen produced by bees that pollinate the flowers of both worlds. He spends his days gathering pollen from a nearby mountain. He often climbs to its top, which is very close to the upper world, to observe the reverse rain. That's how he meets Eden, a girl from the above. They become friends and start visiting the mountain more often to see each other. Over time, they fall in love. Using a rope, Adam pulls Eden down to the underworld and they spend time together. But gravity does not allow them to be together all the time. Remember the first law of this universe. That's why, when they want to see each other, they always have to do it in this place, where the worlds are closest to each other. But in movies, couples can never truly be at peace, can they? During one of their meetings, they were discovered and attacked by hunters. Caught by surprise, they rush to the top to bring Eden back. Using the rope, Adam lowers her up, but is shot halfway through. He drops the rope, causing Eden to fall from a great height straight into the rock, leaving her unconscious. The hunters take him back to the orphanage. His Aunt Becky was arrested and her house was burned down. She takes the blame for him, telling him that she thinks he did nothing wrong. Time jumps forward 10 years. Adam is no longer a teenager. He's grown up and has a job. He works for a man named Albert, where he is developing an anti-gravity product made from pink pollen, which allows matter to respond to both gravitational fields at once, a cosmetic product for facelifts. Since pollen is from both worlds, it also possesses both gravities which allows it to float. One day at work, Adam, his colleague Pablo and Albert are watching a show on TV. Transworld announces the winners of the competition, who receive a job in the corporation as a reward. The person who explains the work of the department in which they will be employed is Eden. Adam is shocked by this because all these years he thought that Eden died. Overjoyed to see her alive, he devises a plan to get in touch with her. He decides to apply for a job at Transworld. He is accepted, but he gets an ordinary office job. He is stationed at the level 0, the room at the very junction of gravity. On the floor are employees from the lower world, and on the ceiling are employees from the upper world. Although if you look from the perspective of the people above, they are on the floor and the others are on the ceiling. But let's get back to the topic. Adam doesn't have a very good time on his first day. Here we meet Bob Borchowitz, a colleague whose desk is directly above his. Bob helps Adam adapt to the environment, and the two become friends. Shortly after his employment, Adam was called into the director's office. The director explains to him that it is rare for someone from below to work in a more important position than people from above. But he is impressed with Adam's facial rejuvenation product and equips him with the necessary equipment to continue his research. All under two conditions: Adam may only deal with the product during business hours, and may not take any of the materials and equipment home, and may not come into contact with anyone from the upper world without permission. Adam agrees and begins his research. Back home, Albert and Pablo aren't happy about his new job, but he reassures them that he knows who he's dealing with, and won't let Transworld just steal this project. We briefly switch to the scene with Eden. She is in group therapy where we learn that she has been suffering from amnesia for years after the accident that happened to her, and that she does not remember anything before it. The days continue and Adam is still working on his project. During one of his breaks at work, Bob asks him for a favor. As he says, he is a big stamp collector. He has a huge collection of all stamps from the upper world. However, no one from above has any stamps from the underworld, so he asks him if he can get him some. Adam says he will do it if Bob does something in return. He wants Bob to connect him with one of the workers at the top even more. Bob laughs and accepts the offer, admiring his courage. Adam arranges a meeting with Eden's secretary, under Bob's name. Against their will, realizing they can't talk him out of it, Albert and Pablo make a special iron suit for Adam. Made of inverse matter, it will allow him to move normally in upper gravity for a few hours, until the material burns out. So he finally goes to the upper departments of Transworld to see his first love again. He sneaked through the entire building to finally reach her office, only to find out that she didn't recognize him at all. Confused, he tries to make her remember him, but her secretary explains to him that she does not remember a large period of her life, and that she suffers from amnesia. Just as she begins to question him about whether he is someone from her previous life, his armor under his suit begins to grow warmer, partly because of the shock, and also because of the knowledge that if he doesn't hurry, he could end up being burned alive. He storms out of the room saying that he needs some air. Outside, he accidentally sets off the security alarm and is forced to escape back into his own gravity. Still confused by the sequence of events, he returns to his workplace just as the director begins to address all the employees. He informs them that he will call out the names of persons whose services they no longer need. Among those fired is Bob. At first, he thought it was a mistake, but when he was reassured, he was forced to pack his bags. Appreciating their friendship, Bob secretly leaves him a mysterious box and leaves. Adam finds Bob's personal information in the box, which he can use to move freely in the upper world. Later that evening, he gets a call from Eden, who asks him why he left all of a sudden. Aware that she still knows him as Bob, he decides to try a different strategy. He accepts her offer to meet at a restaurant in a city in the upper world. It's one thing to go to the upper gravity of Transworld, but going to the upper planet, it's strictly forbidden for the inhabitants of one world to go to the opposite one. But certainly, he is adamant. He will do anything to get his old love back. Man, you have to admire this kind of dedication. Yet she can remember him as Adam. He'll start over and make her love him as a different person. With a new inverse matter suit, he goes to the upper planet. This time, the meeting goes much better. He makes a positive impression on her, and they agree to continue seeing each other. He manages to return to his planet in a very turbulent way. Despite everything, he sleeps easier knowing that he will see her again. In the next scene, we see Eden waking up from the dream she had. It was a weird dream. In it, she was on a strange mountain. Its top is very close to the lower world, and someone was calling her from the other side. Well, it was strange to her, but we know what she was dreaming about. In the following days, Adam continued to work on his product, finally completing it. The entire company was invited to attend a demonstration of his invention. At the end of his presentation, people are fascinated and start burying him with questions. Among the viewers is Eden, who says she has a question for Bob. But the director introduces him as Adam Kirk, and Adam says in front of everyone that she probably confused him with someone else. Confused, she runs out of the hall, and Adam tries to run after her, but he fails to catch up with her because of the crowd around him. Back at her house, Eden is hurt because she was lied by a person she genuinely liked. Late at night, she finally catches some sleep, but dreams again of the same place as yesterday. Only now the dream is much clearer, almost like a memory. The caller on the other end introduces himself as Adam, and she finally remembers his character, as well as fragments of their shared moments. Back with Adam, we see that he spent the night looking for her. He stops in front of a house and hurriedly knocks on the door. The door opens and we see Bob. He is shocked to see Adam on his planet, but quickly lets him into the house, realizing he needs help. Bob makes a new suit for him while Adam hangs in the house waiting. Yes, he is literally hanging, at least from Bob's perspective. Bob manages to fix his suit's overheating problem, so he can now stay in the upper world longer. Adam spends the night at his place, and so they talk about various topics. Adam explains to him how his cream works, describing in detail what pink pollen is. Bob is fascinated. He thinks that this is a revolutionary discovery, and that he should not just base it on some cream. He is also concerned that now someone like Transworld has a formula for all of this. Adam just laughs and explains that he never fully trusted them. He hid the main ingredient from the formula, so that the director and the corporation did not know about the pink pollen. The scene shifts to Director Legatherlin. He lashes out at some of his workers for not being able to replicate Adam's formula, and realizes he's been duped. And we realize that the director did not have benevolent intentions as he said. The next day, Adam meets Eden again. This time she rushes towards him, telling him that she finally remembered her old life. She falls into his arms and he kisses her after a long time. But in the middle of the moment, they were interrupted by the police. They're really unlucky, aren't they? The police are after Adam because they know he comes from the underworld. He separates from Eden, telling her that he will find her again. The police chase him all over the city, but he manages to escape from them and return home. Without waiting a moment, he goes straight to the mountain they used to visit as children, hoping that she will know how to find her way there. He waited for hours, and when he started to lose hope that she would come, she appears. Like in the good old days, he climbs up to her with rope, and they spend a passionate night together. At dawn, they were found again and forced to run. They were chased through the entire mountain until they finally reached a cliff. Gunshots are all around them. In a desperate attempt to move, they fall off the cliff. We see a dramatic moment where Eden holds onto the rope with one hand and holds Adam with the other so he doesn't fall back into his own gravity that would pull him all the way to his planet. He looks at her and begs her to let him go. She doesn't want to, saying that they finally found each other, and she doesn't want to lose him again. But he lets go of her grip and falls, falling, more and more, until he finally hits his home planet. A certain amount of time passed, and Adam survived the fall. He is broken because he thinks he tried everything for them to be together. Maybe love is simply not stronger than gravity. Maybe they just weren't meant to be together. Meanwhile, Eden was looking for a way they could be. She finds Bob, who has continued to study the pollen Adam showed him. All the time Adam was fighting for them, he was the one who came to their planet. Now is the time for them to do the same. Bob has developed a pollen serum that allows anyone to be in anti-gravity without using a suit, meaning no chance of burning themselves in the process. He goes to the lower planet and is reunited with Adam. He explains to him about his discovery and how it will solve all their problems. A revolutionary discovery, didn't he say so? The only problem is that the serum has an effect of 1 hour, but they are on great track. With these wonderful news, he meets Eden again. She came down with Bob on lower planet. He asked her how long she could stay, to which she replied, forever. Confused, he asks her how this is possible, and she tells him that she is pregnant. Bob said it's hard to explain, but it seems that because she's pregnant, she can now live in both gravities. Overjoyed by the news, he hugged her, finally happy that they had found a way to overcome all challenges and be together. This story had an unusual world and a concept I haven't seen before. The very idea of double gravities quickly draws you into the story. The plot has solid pacing until the end, which feels a bit rushed. Overall, great shots and cinematography considering the film is 10 years old, interesting introduction, and a solid plot make the film a good choice to kill boredom on a Friday night. Thanks for watching another Essential Movie Recap. Please like and subscribe.